Okay. Okay, we'll start lying down. The nicest way to start the class, I think. So I think there's probably a lot of exhaustion, weariness going around for all of us at the moment. So just take this next hour and 15 minutes to just try and let go, leave aside the tiredness, the weariness, and just let your focus be on something a lot more simpler and just the more basic thing in the body, which is the breath. And I invite you to just listen to your breath and try and slow the breath down. So with your eyes closed, breathing in through the nose and trying to listen to the sound of that breath coming in through the nose, in through the nasal cavities. And then as you exhale, listening to that sound of the breath coming out through the mouth. And just letting your mind focus on that sound. Just letting it be peaceful and quiet. And if there's battles going on in your mind, just leave them aside. Just say, let that be done now for a while and just let the breath be your focus. And gradually, the magic of the breath, that magic is worked through the body. Sensing and melting of any tension that is held there in the body. Just sensing that slowly melting, bit by bit. You'll sense that melting, particularly as you are exhaling. I'm sensing that with each exhale, it's another melt on top of another melt, rather than letting the tension re-engage. You're just letting go more and more. And if you don't mind for a moment, imagining that you are lying on soft sand and that with each exhale, you're letting the weight of your body leave the deepest imprint that you can in that sand. As you relax the body, it's like a spreading out. Leaving that imprint in the sand. And if you imagine that you want to leave the imprint of as much of your body as you can, the heel, the back of the heels, all along the calf muscles on the legs, back of the thighs, all around the back side of where the pelvis bone muscles lay that weight of the backside onto the sand. The middle and upper back, shoulders, all along the arms, down to the back of the hands, maybe the fingers. The weight of your body printing down onto the sand. And finally, the head. The weight of the skull, the brain. With each breath, allowing your body to be held. Allowing yourself to just let go. Breathing down into the lungs. Bringing your right hand onto your belly and your left hand underneath your lower back. The left hand under the lower back, you'll have the palm of the hand facing your mat. Sending your breath down into the belly. So you're breathing deep into the diaphragm. And it's easy to visualize it by saying you're breathing down into the belly. So we talked about the diaphragm last week. The diaphragm is under the lungs. And as you breathe in, that hammock-shaped muscle drops, comes down into the belly. As you breathe out, the diaphragm moves back up, sitting underneath the lungs. Sensing with both hands the expansion all around the waist. Now that expansion may not be happening right now, but gradually as you focus your breath into the diaphragm, just sensing that expansion through the front and the back, and maybe in the mind sensing it out at the waist as well. It may help to visualize that muscle, that diaphragm muscle, as it moves downward towards the belly when you inhale. And resumes back upward as you exhale. And think of this type of breathing exercise as a toning and training for this diaphragm muscle. Like any other muscle, you move the muscle to train it. And this muscle has a big part to play in your breath capacity. And each inhale, you're drawing in oxygen to feed your body, to feed all the cells in your body. So sensing not only the expansion in the belly space, but the expansion into the lower back. We're letting both arms relax down onto the floor again, out by the side. And we will keep that connection to our breath flow throughout our practice tonight. Using whatever chance you can get when you are in a pose or moving through poses to use that breath flow. Bringing your awareness to your body. Opening the eyes, bending both knees, bring the feet flat on the mat, and letting the knees sway side to side, nice and slowly. Remembering, as we always do for each class when you're starting, you do this yoga practice at your own pace. You take a break when you need to. If there's any injury that's cropped up, or if there's a part of your body that just feels aggravated this evening, if there's a pose that I introduced tonight that it does not feel good, take a break. You can sit out and just watch for a few minutes and rejoin when you wish. Bring the knees back to center. So we'll start off with just a little bit of movement in the back, the lower back. So we'll start off with arch and flatten. So thinking of your pelvis like it's a rolling pin. Rolling the pelvis forward as you arch the lower back. Rolling the pelvis back upward as your lower back flattens. And if it doesn't complicate things too much, try and synchronize breath with movement if you can. So breathing down deep to the diaphragm, inhale as your lower back arches. Exhale as your lower back flattens. The only part that you are moving with control is the pelvis. Notice what happens to the rest of the body with that pelvic movement. Notice the movement all along your spine, that particularly the lower spine. You've got that arching and flattening. You are moving this spine with your pelvis. Notice as you arch and flatten the lower back, how the spine feels in each position, how the spine feels as you move into each position. Taking it gentle if your back feels aggravated this evening. Coming to a neutral pelvis. So your pelvis is in your neutral position. Your spine is in a neutral position. We're going to add a little bit of movement to this. Let your right leg stretch long onto the mat. We're going to do a little bit of work into the psoas muscle here. Bring the hands behind the head. Elbows are released out onto the floor. We'll do a sit-up movement with the upper body, and the pelvis, the lower back will be moving through arch and flatten. So I'll talk you through it. Don't worry if you take a minute or two to get what we're doing. So take an inhale, rolling the pelvis forward, let the lower back arch. As you exhale, moving the pelvis back so the lower back flattens. Now lifting the right leg just a little bit off the floor. Bring the elbows in and lift the head, neck and shoulders just a little bit. As you exhale the next time, lowering the head, lowering the leg. Very, very slowly, like you're moving in slow motion, slowest motion you can do. Inhale, arch the lower back, elbows are relaxed. Exhale, flatten the lower back, elbows come to ears. Lift the head, neck and shoulders and lift the right leg, just about an inch off the floor for both of them. It's harder to lift only a little bit, and you're doing this movement so slowly. Exhale as you release. Keep going again. Your inhale as you arch the lower back, and you're exhaling as you're lifting up. And if you think about trying to synchronize the lifting of the upper body and the leg. And trying to synchronize the release back down again. So the next time that you are back down on the floor with the leg and the upper body, take a pause, take a moment. Maybe notice the right pelvis connection to the floor and the left pelvis connection to the floor. Noticing, is there any difference in that connection? Maybe there is, maybe there isn't. Bending the right knee, place the right foot flat on the floor, lengthening the left leg long on the floor. As you inhale, arching the lower back. Exhale as you flatten the lower back, elbows come into the ears. Lift the head off the floor, lift the left leg. Just a little bit. You'll probably feel it in the tummy muscles. You engage the abdominal muscles here. Exhale as you release down to the floor, very, very slowly. Relaxing the elbows down. Inhale as you arch the lower back. Exhale, rolling the pelvis back in so the lower back flattens. Elbows to ears, lift head, lift the leg. Slowly releasing. One more time, rolling the pelvis so the lower back arches. Take an inhale. Exhale as you bring the pelvis back in, lower back flattens, elbows in, lift head, lift leg. Releasing down slowly. And relax. Bring the arms back down by your side. Bending both knees, feet on the floor. Just sense that area in around the groin area, which is where the psoas muscle is, in and around that space. And just sensing that area and just noticing if you feel any different after that last exercise. That exercise is to tone that psoas muscle. The psoas muscle is joining the thigh bone to the spine. And that muscle can become quite tight from sitting. If you're sitting down a lot, we're trying to bring a little bit of tone and a bit of length to that muscle. Okay, so rolling over onto your side, coming onto hands and knees. We're going to do a little bit more work into the psoas muscle. Bringing your right leg out to the side. So when you bring your right leg out to the side, the arch of your right foot is facing the floor. And your toes are pointing up towards the top of your mat. And we're going to practice cat-cow with the right leg out to the side like this. So have a check and make sure that your arms, shoulders are over wrists. The leg that's standing, you've got the hip over the knee. So on your next inhale, let the belly dip, let the tailbone draw upward and gaze slightly ahead. Exhale, draw the spine up to the ceiling, suck the belly in, chin to chest, tailbone draws in. Keep going, inhale. Now don't let this inhale part be too strenuous on the inner part of your groin area, so taking it nice and gentle. Exhale as you draw the spine up, tuck the tailbone under, chin to chest. Inhale, moving through again, a few more times. And I want you to focus on your abdominal muscles as you are moving through this exercise. So engaging the muscles on the waist and on the belly. So you're firmly in control of the lower, supporting the lower back. Come back to a neutral spine. Bring your right leg in, right knee to the floor. Left leg stretches out now. We'll do the same thing with the left leg, moving through cat-cow. So inhale as your belly dips towards the floor, tailbone draws up, gazing slightly ahead. Take it very gentle here on this one. Exhale, draw the belly in, spine comes up to the floor, chin to chest. Inhale. Now as you're moving through the exercises again on this side, keeping the abdominal muscles engaged, all around the front of the belly, all around the side waist. Not going too deep, particularly in the inhale part here where you're dipping the belly. Not overstretching the inside of the inner thigh on that left leg. Coming back to a neutral spine, bringing that left knee in. Coming up onto the knees. So you're coming up onto knees, standing on the knees. We'll go through gate pose. So standing on your right leg, on your right knee, left leg stretched out to the side. Taking it nice and slow. The left leg stretched out. The toes of the left foot are pointing straight ahead of you. So you don't have them pointing out to the side. So letting the left arm just sit along the left leg, not leaning into it. Right arm reaching up, take a deep inhale, and just let the left hand and arm slide a little bit along the left leg. Just looking, turning the face to look upward towards that right arm. Breathing deep here. Pay particular awareness to your breathing into your diaphragm. Sensing the space all along the rib cage on the right side. Sensing length from the right armpit to the right hip. On your next exhale, bring the right arm back down, slide the left arm in. Coming onto your left knee, stretching the right leg out. We'll do the same thing on the other side. Right arm relaxes onto the right leg. Inhale, reach the left arm up. Reaching through the left arm, let that right arm just slide a little bit. Breathing into your lungs, aware of where you feel the impact of breathing, where you feel it particularly now as you're leaning or stretching and lengthening through the left side. On your next exhale, coming back down with the left arm, let the right arm slide in. Bring the right knee in. Lovely. Coming down with the bum over the heels. We'll come into a restful pose, child's pose for a moment. Reach the arms out in front. Bring the forehead down. And just sensing the rib cage and the chest along your thighs, breathing deep into your lungs. And as your front of your body is slightly impeded by the legs, sense that expansion in your back as you breathe in. Inhale, coming back up to hands and knees. Walk the hands in towards the legs, coming up to stand. So coming up in whatever way you need to stand. Okay. So from standing, we're going to do something that we have done before in the past, but we're going to do it a little bit different. So we've often done this exercise where we swing the arms. We're going to do it a little bit different tonight. Karina, hold your horses. So we're going to do it a bit different. We're going to do it one side at a time. Now the intention, we'll be swinging the arm, and what I want you to try and do is imagine your arm is just so floppy. It's just like a puppet, okay? So try and just let that arm swing. Now the intention really is that we want to get movement into the middle of the back and the sides of our body here, okay? So I don't want you to necessarily move that part of the body, just let it be moved by the arm. Okay, so we're going to start off. The left hand is sitting on your left hip purely to just try and let the movement happen on the right side. So we're just going to let the right arm swing, just floppy, just let it flop. And what I want you to be aware of is you can let the knees be a gentle bend in the knees, engaging the muscles in your abdomen and all around your waist. So you're not just kind of letting yourself totally flop in your torso. And just sensing, is there restriction in the middle of your back, in the middle, all around your chest area? Is there anything restricting you there? Maybe there is, maybe there isn't. Okay, letting that right arm come to rest. Place the right hand on the right hip. Left arm gets its chance to move now. Doing the same thing. Just let that left arm swing. Feeling the twist through your upper body. Okay, let the right arm just drop and just moving both arms now. Gradually, slowly, slowing down. And let yourself just come to a rest and just notice what you feel. So where your shoulders are now, take that as your neutral position. You're going to lift your shoulders up to your ears, return the shoulders to your neutral position, and then draw the shoulders down towards the feet. Back to neutral, up to the ears, neutral, down to the feet. Neutral, up to the ears, neutral, down to the feet. And relax, back to neutral. Just get a little bit of circle motion going in your shoulders. In any direction you want to, just get a little bit of circle motion in there. And I want you to pay attention particularly to not just the actual joint, the shoulder joint, but how your shoulder blade slides and glides in your upper back. Whatever direction you picked, go in the opposite direction. If you feel that there's a little bit of restriction in the upper back, just, be aware of that and don't overdo it. Don't force anything. Coming back to neutral. Oh, that feels nice. Okay, so coming down onto hands and knees again. So taking it nice and slowly, coming down to your hands and knees. And coming onto your belly, we're coming to Sphinx position. So you're on your forearms and your elbows are level with your chest. And you're pressing into your forearm and lifting the head, neck, and shoulders and chest off of the floor, just looking at the top of your mat. What I want you to be aware of is that the neck and the spine are in line with each other. So you're not cranking out of your neck to look forward. You're keeping an alignment of spine to neck. And I want you to think about as if there's an invisible string coming out of the crown of the head, and it's drawing length through your spine, and drawing you forward out through the crown of the head. Rounding through your pelvis, through your legs, through your feet. On your next exhale, lowering down to the mat. Let your whole body relax, let everything go. Consciously switching everything off and feeling the weight of your body coming down to the floor. Pressing back up to hands and knees when you can, nice and slowly. So from hands and knees, bring your right foot forward to the top of the mat. Right foot at the top of the mat, left foot is at the back. Curling the toes under on the left foot, lengthening through the left leg. So lift the left knee off the floor and press through the heel on your left foot. And you may want to get up onto your fingertips, or if you feel this isn't comfortable for you, for your upper body, get a couple of books to put underneath your hands. You need to make sure that they're the same thickness, just to give you support. So think about lengthening through the back heel, at the same time drawing that right front shin forward towards the top of the mat. Now, nothing's really moving. It's in your mind, you're sending that energy through your body. And breathing here, breathing into the lungs. On your next exhale, letting that left knee come down to the floor. And if you have knees that get a bit sore when your knee is on the floor, don't forget, you can always just make a little bit of an extra bit of thickness with your mat, bit of padding for your knee. So from here, take the hands off of the mat. So we're going to come into crescent moon lunge. So a crescent moon lunge, at this point, my knee is over my ankle on the front leg. So what we're going to do is we're going to move the pelvis forward towards the top of the mat. As I do that, my right knee glides forward. Okay, and that's okay. But I'm really holding my strength here in my pelvis, and my back leg is holding me strong as well. So you judge it. Notice how that back leg feels, particularly up at the front of the hip on that back leg. Don't go too far forward or you will strain the hip on the left side. So take it nice and gentle. On your next inhale, take both arms out, reaching them up to the sky. You can look forward or you can look up towards the hands. If you find your balance is getting a little bit wibbly wobbly, just focus on the connection to the floor. The right foot. Back to the left leg, the left knee and the left foot. Relax your shoulders. On the next exhale, release the arms. Let your pelvis move back into its original starting position. So you now have the knee over the ankle on the front leg. Fold forward, bring the hands down to the mat. So curling the toes under on that back foot and lifting the back knee. You're back in your runner's lunge again. Step your front foot back to the back so you come into plank position. Knees down. Sit back, bum over the heels, come into child's pose for a moment, or hare pose. Take a moment, and I want you to, while you're here in this restful pose, to really notice how you feel, how your body's feeling after that last little sequence of exercises. What sensations are in the body? Inhale, coming back up to hands and knees. Hips over knees, keep the hips over the knees. You're going to walk forward with your hands into puppy pose. So the important thing is you keep your hips exactly where they are. Walk the hands forward and keep going as far forward until you feel, as far as you feel comfortable. Your chest will gradually lower and your head will gradually lower, but you just go as far as you feel comfortable. Breathing into the lungs. Feeling that length along the spine. Walking the hands in gradually towards the knees again. So you're back at tabletop. Bring the left foot forward to the top of the mat. We're going to do the same thing again on the left side, runner's lunge. So left knee is in front, knee over ankle on that left leg. Curl the toes under on the back foot, the right foot, and lift the right knee off the mat. So here, we take a moment in our runner's lunge to draw that back heel back away from you. So you really get length along the back leg. At the same time, drawing the front shin forward. You're feeling that lengthening and you're feeling that kind of drawing of action of muscles through the hips. Breathing into the lungs. Lowering that back knee now and releasing the toes on the right foot. Coming into crescent moon lunge. So we'll take the hands off of the mat, hands onto the hips, and take a moment just to ground yourself. Ground through your standing foot, your standing knee. Let the pelvis move a little ways forward, not too far. Your front knee will drive forward a little bit. So sense how it feels in your right, in around the groin on the right side now. Don't go too far forward, just a little bit. Inhale, take the hands and arms up, reaching up to the sky. Your gaze is forward, or you can look up to the hands. Conscious of any tension in the body. Notice your shoulders, softening them. On your next exhale, let the arms relax down, hands onto the hips. Glide the pelvis back to your starting position. Fold forward, bring the hands down to the mat. Curling the toes under on the right foot, lift the right knee. Step the front foot back, you're in plank pose. Lower the knees, bum over the heels, take a moment in child's pose or hare pose. And taking this moment again to sense how your body is feeling. Bring awareness to breath. When you're bringing awareness to your physical body, you want to notice what you're sensing, what you're feeling. Notice if there's anything that feels any strain or tiredness. You bring awareness to your breath. Sense if the breath has quickened a little bit. Can you bring it back down to a nice slow pace? On your next inhale, coming back up to hands and knees. Moving into puppy pose again. Hips stay over the knees. Walk the hands out nice and slowly so you know where you need to stop, where you feel is enough for you. Letting the chest and the head lower a little bit. Again, do just sense how your back feels tonight. Breathing into the lungs. Walk the hands back in slowly, taking your time. So curling the toes under, pressing into the hands, coming up into to downward dog. We're taking it gentle, so we're going to keep both knees bent. Pressing the hands into the mat, pressing the feet into the mat. So think about just getting a nice bit of length into the upper body, drawing the tailbone up. As you draw the tailbone up, pressing the hands into the mat, keeping those knees well bent for a moment. And then try to bring the left heel towards the floor, and then lifting the left heel and then the right heel. So just nice and slowly bringing one heel at a time towards the floor, pedaling them out. And then see about maybe drawing length through both legs by drawing both heels towards the floor. Send your awareness to your breath while you're in down dog. Filling the lungs. Sending your breath to the diaphragm. As you inhale, send the heels closer to the floor. As you exhale, softening the legs, relaxing the heels. On your next inhale, look towards your hands. And as you exhale, making your way forward with your feet towards the top of the mat. Grounding through the feet, feeling your root connection to your feet. And as if you're pushing off from a diving board, grounding through the earth, inhale, reach the arms up. Letting your body uncurl, reaching up through your spine, your arms. Exhale, draw the palms down to heart center. Relaxing the arms down by your side. Turning to face the long end of your mat. So facing the long end of your mat, your feet are parallel, so opening the legs out a good wide distance, and the feet are parallel. So we're going to go through a sequence of warrior 2 and triangle and reverse warrior as well. So starting off, feet are parallel, turn the left foot slightly in, turn the right foot all the way out. Bending the right knee. What we want to try and do is get that right thigh as close to parallel to the floor as you can. So if that doesn't feel right for you, to have your legs stretched out too far and there's too much of a stretch there, then don't worry about trying to get the thigh parallel. Just let your leave not too much of a bend in the knee. But if slide that right foot forward a little bit more, get a good deep bend into the floor. All along the outer edge of that back foot is connected to the floor. So really feel that grounding along the back leg. Inhale, reach the arms out. Exhale, turn your head and just look down the middle finger of the right hand. Relaxing the shoulders. And bring your awareness to that front leg and just in your mind, just think, is that knee over the ankle? Am I getting a nice bit of control so that the knee isn't drooping and dropping inward? And straightening the right leg now. We're going to move into triangle pose. Gliding your upper body and your arms to the right and hinging along your right side waist. Bring your right hand to your right shin. Left arm reaches up to the sky. You can either look to your left hand or look down at your right foot. Now what we want to try and do is really focus on the neck and the spine. We want the neck and the spine in line with each other. So notice if your head is ducking out a little bit. Try and see if you can get that head going back a little bit so the neck is in line with the spine. Breathing here. On your next inhale, coming back up. You can try and keep both arms out, that'd be great. Come back into warrior 2. Let your left arm relax onto the back leg. Turn the palm of your right hand to the ceiling and reach up the right hand up to the ceiling. Warrior, reverse warrior. So keep that front knee bent. Looking up, your gaze is towards that hand that's up at the ceiling. And the back arm, the left hand is just sitting on the back leg. You feel anywhere that there's tension in your body now, just try and release that tension. On your next exhale, come back to warrior two. Take a deep inhale and exhale, relax the arms. Straighten the right leg. Turn the toes of the right foot slightly in. Toes of the left foot all the way out. Bending the left knee. Have a peek and have a look and make sure that knee is over the ankle on the left leg. Inhale, reach the arms out. Exhale, look along the middle finger of your left hand. Shoulders are relaxed. Keeping a nice bit of engagement in the thigh muscles on the left leg with the bent knee. On the next exhale, straightening the left leg. And then gliding to your left, hinging down the left side waist, left hand on left leg, right hand reaching up to the sky. Your gaze is either to that right hand or to the left foot. But being aware of your neck again. Keeping that neck in line with the spine. And it's hard to know when you're not looking at yourself in a mirror. You're just using your own focus in your body. Just trying to bring it to where you feel is right. Inhale, coming all the way up again. Exhale, bending the left knee. Back into warrior two. Right hand onto the back of the right leg. Turn the palm of the left hand to the ceiling. Inhale, reaching up left hand to the ceiling. Looking up at that hand, reaching up. Feeling your connection to the earth through both feet. Grounding down through the feet, but yet trying to ensure there's ease through the body. On your next exhale, back to warrior two. Take an inhale. Exhale, relax the arms. Straighten the leg on the left leg. Turn the toes of the left foot in. Walk the feet in together. Give your body a shake out. The arms and the legs and the whole body. Lovely. Okay. So while we're standing, we're going to try a different pose. And what I'd ask is you get yourself, actually have a look at what we're going to do first. And you're going to use either a wall or a counter or a chair. I have a chair here. So I'm going to show you what we're going to do first. So it's called dancer pose. And a lot of the lengthening muscle that we're doing, the emphasis on is here in around that psoas muscle. So you'll start off with your hands either on a chair or a wall. And you want to try and be kind of like about arm's distance away. And the legs will be side by side. So I'll talk you through it first, then we'll split off and you can work on it yourselves. The legs are side by side to start with. And I'm going to bend my right knee and grasp it with my right hand. But what I want to emphasize here is that my legs are still parallel. What we don't want to have happen is this. We want to try and do is keep the right leg alongside the left and the knee pointing towards the floor if you can. If you've got an injury, just don't do it, or okay, so just take a rest for this one. So we'll start off like this. My palm is facing my foot, if you know, that's the way I'm holding it. So I'm not holding it like this. I have my hand on the outside and I have my palm facing my foot. So this is the starting position. And then gradually, I'm pressing my foot into my hand and pressing my hand into my foot here in the back. And as I do this, I gradually move forward with the upper body. So this is where you need to have kind of an arm's distance away from whatever you're holding. Could be a wall and you don't want to crash into it. So pressing the foot into the hand, pressing the hand into the foot, and moving a little bit forward with the upper body. And I can feel the stretch, I can feel the lengthening in the muscle on my thigh muscle here. And then letting myself move back to the original position, coming back up to standing, releasing the foot, and we will do the same on the other side. So we can get started. Have something solid to hold on to. Yeah, lovely. So we'll start with the lifting the right foot, making sure you've got that right leg parallel to the left. Lovely. So you might be leaning a bit far forward, Karina. If you could move closer to that, what your prop is. Okay, lovely. So you're pressing your foot into your hand and your hand into your foot. It's like a tension thing that's going on there. And as you're doing this motion, you're letting the leg fly behind you and your upper body fold forward a little bit. Okay. Now watch that the leg doesn't fly out to the side here. So you're keeping the thigh of the right leg still parallel to the standing leg. On your next exhale, letting your body come up, your upper body come up, and letting the right leg come in, and release the foot and the hand. Now, does anyone have any questions? I know you're muted, but you can unmute if you want to. Do you have any questions on what you're doing? Does it feel you're okay? I can see a thumbs up from Owen anyway. Karina's frozen. I've lost her, I think. Okay, you're doing okay, right? So we'll do the other side. Owen, I'd say you're fine for this one, but if we're doing this pose again, maybe next week, I say something a little bit higher might be handy. Okay, yeah. Okay, so let's go with the left leg. Lovely. So this leg might feel a bit better, a bit easier, or might feel a bit more challenging. Pressing the hand into the foot into the hand, and letting that leg draw back as you let the upper body fold forward. So notice how that feels into the upper thigh, up where it connects into the hip. And slowly releasing back, so you're letting the upper body come up and releasing the foot. Okay, lovely, perfect. Okay, so I'll just show you we'll try and do this pose again next week. When you're in the pose and you're pressing the hand into the foot and the foot into the hand, the foot and the shin slightly moves away from you as you fold forward. So there's a pressing of the foot and the shin forward, and the hand is drawing on it. So as you move forward, there's that kind of action. So it's rather than this, it's more a drawing back, and the arm is drawing back and the shin and the foot is drawing away from you. Okay, so we'll focus on that a bit. We can focus on that next week, all right? So get your prop out of the way. Lovely. So we're going to come down onto hands and knees again. So from hands and knees, we're going to come into pigeon. So bringing your right knee forward, your right knee comes forward over beside your right hand, and letting your left leg stretch back behind you. I know this is a bit of a strange one, but in order to get that left leg stretched all the way back, curl the toes under on the left foot and let your left foot, walk your leg back. So it's like you curl the toes under on the back foot, lift the knee and lengthen through the leg. And then relax the toes. Don't worry if you don't get it. Just try and lengthen that back leg all the way back as much as you can. So hands are on the mat, fingers are spread out. And when you look down at the leg in front of you, you've got the knee in front. Perhaps you may be able to bring the shin out a little bit more in front. I'm not able to, my body's not capable of doing that. Some people might be able to. So if you look at any yoga videos, you'll see they have the gymnast with the shin out here and the foot here. So I'm just telling you because that's the picture version. But my own foot, that's where it lies and that's what works for me. So from here with pigeon, try and focus on getting a balance in your pelvis so that your pelvis is not dropping over to one side, particularly the right. So balancing through the pelvis on both sides. And then gradually, as far as feels comfortable for you, walking your hands forward, and you might come down to the forearms, and you're just looking at your hands and looking at your arms in front of you, just letting your back relax, and just see how this feels for you in your hips. Try and soften the breath, soften your heart center, letting the back relax. If you feel you have a bit more in you, that you feel your hips are okay for this, you could bring your chest and your head down close to the floor and fold forward down to the floor. If that feels okay, you just go as far as you can go. Relax your breath, relax your upper body. On your next inhale, if you haven't already coming up onto the hands. When you're up onto the hands, we'll just take full pigeon. Chest is open and your crown of your head is drawing up towards the ceiling. And nice and slowly, we'll maneuver back into hands and knees. So you draw your back leg in, adjust your front leg, coming into hands and knees. Take a moment in child's pose or any rest pose you want to. Just take a moment to just sense how you feel after that. How did your body feel after that exercise? And I know for me, my right side of my lower back is a little bit challenged at the moment. So that particular side was challenging for me, but my other side might not be too bad. So being aware of different sides and taking a little bit of notice of what goes on in your body. Coming up onto hands and knees, bringing your left knee forward. So the left knee comes towards the left hand, adjusting the shin and the foot of the left leg, just bringing it a little bit forward as much as what feels good for you. And sliding the back leg along back. So you could curl the toes under and walk your right leg all the way back to the back of the mat, stretching out the right leg, relaxing the toes, the right toes. And just being aware of pelvis alignment, getting the right side and the left side balanced, not letting yourself drop too much. You're trying to keep both sides level. So if I put a spirit level along the back of your pelvis, you want to get perfect alignment. Breathing here, just getting a little bit of ease into the body. And if you feel like you want to go a little bit further with the pose, walk the hands out in front, come onto the forearms, take a notice here. If you feel this is enough for you, you'd stay here. If you want to go a little bit further, you may bring the elbows out a little bit. You might bring the head down and the chest down. and release down to the floor. Breathing deeply, allowing your heart center to totally soften, allowing the back muscles to relax. Slowly coming back up and back up onto the hands, coming into the full expression of pigeon pose, chest broadening, gazing ahead, lengthening through the spine as much as you can. And then very carefully and slowly rearranging the legs. So you will bring your back leg in a little bit, adjust your front leg, and then gradually coming into your hands and knees. So taking it nice and gently and carefully, because that's quite a deep pose and you don't want to injure yourself coming out of it. Again, take a moment in a rest, whatever rest you want to. It could be on your back, it could be on child's pose, anywhere you want to take a rest. Just to, again, bring awareness to what you're feeling in your body. And we'll all make our way to hands and knees. Bringing your right foot forward to the top of the mat. And at the moment, your right foot is between your hands. Well, what I want you to do is walk your right foot out to the edge of the mat and bring your right arm and right hand into the inside of the right leg. So the right foot's on the outside and the right leg is on the outside. And you've got your shoulders over your wrists. Curling the toes on the back foot, lifting the back knee off the mat. So we're in a lunge position, a runner's lunge position, but the right arm is on the inside of the right leg. And just very, very gently, bending the elbows a little bit. So as you're lowering your upper body just a little bit down the inside of that right knee. Just a tiny bit, and then straightening the arms again. So try and not let that bent front leg splay out to the side. Try and keep knee over ankle. Slightly bending the elbows again, lowering the upper body a little bit. And then straightening the arms again. Breathing all the time. One more time, we'll do that. Bending the elbows and then straightening. Let the back knee bend and come down to the floor. Right foot comes in between the arms and step that right foot back. We'll do the same thing on the left leg. Left leg out in front. Walk the left foot out to the edge of the mat and bring your left arm into the inside now of that left leg. Curl the toes under on the right foot, lift the right knee off the mat. So that right leg is nice and long and straight. And we'll take 3 of these. So bending the elbows, letting the upper body lower just a little bit so that all the body, the hips and the back leg are lowering a little bit. And then lengthening and straightening the arms again. So it's like a little gentle push-up. We're not going that far down though. Straightening the arms. Taking your last one. Lengthening through the arms. Letting the back knee come to the floor. Drawing the left foot back to your back in hands and knees. Come back down again. Child's pose for a moment. Lengthening the arms out in front of you. So reach the arms out in front. Draw the tailbone back. And I want you to think like a cat, like you're clawing your nails into the mat and you're letting your wrists come up off the floor. So you're drawing through your claws, your wrists are up off the floor, and you're getting a lovely bit of length through the arms and the shoulders. And then relax the hands, relax the wrists. Coming back up onto hands and knees. And then coming back down to sit on your mat. Okay, so one more challenging pose before we get into the more relaxing ones. So you're going to bring your hands behind you onto the floor, and the fingertips are pointing towards your hips. Shoulders are drawing back. So this is called tabletop pose, but it's tabletop in reverse. So fingertips are pointing towards your hips. You're going to press into your hands, press into your feet, and push, lifting the hips up off the floor, lifting the belly. And if you can, you might be able to lengthen through the arms and just let the head drop back a tiny bit, not all too much. You don't want to hurt your neck. Breathing here. Try and keep both legs parallel, not letting one leg splay out. And then slowly, slowly, slowly releasing down very, very carefully. Letting the bum come down very carefully. Shake out the arms. Okay, we're going to come back down to the mat to lie down. We'll take a couple of back bends, so bridge pose. With your bridge pose, remember to keep the knees in line with the ankles. Keep the legs parallel. They'll come up into your bridge pose. Bringing the arms in underneath, holding the pose for 3 full breaths. When you've done your 3 breaths, you'll release out, gradually come down. Do that 3 times. So each time hold for 3 breaths and then come down. That's 3 times you do that. Letting the feet relax. And thinking about that lovely psoas muscle that I mentioned at the beginning of the class. That muscle is getting a nice little bit of length in this back bend because there's length along the thigh that connects up to the hip. So when you're coming up into your next back bend, try and focus on keeping the legs parallel and not letting there be any little bit of dropping out of the legs. And when you're finished your last back bend, you release out your back by bringing your knees to your chest and just rocking side to side. Taking it nice and slow for that release part. Rolling side to side slowly. Taking your time with your back bends. When you're finished your back release, Release the knees and bring the feet to the floor. Open the arms away from you to a T onto the floor. And bring both knees just softly over to the left. And bring your left hand onto the left thigh. The right arm stays reached out to the right. And just turn to look at the right hand. Breathing deep into the lungs. So notice where you feel space in your breathing. Notice where you feel a little bit of restriction because of this twist exercise. But where you feel space in your mind, send more space there. Send your breath to that area. Letting your head come back to center. Release the left arm away from you onto the floor. Bring both knees to center. Letting both knees rotate over to the floor on the right side. So bringing the knees to the right. Bringing your right hand. So letting yourself roll all the way over with the knees. Letting your pelvis roll over. Bring the right hand onto the right thigh. Left arm is reaching onto the floor away from you. Turn to the left and just see that arm reaching away from you. Breathing into this twist through your torso. Breathing into the space and openness all along the side, particularly on your left side. Let your head come back to center. Release your right arm, right hand. Let your knees come back to center. Just take a moment to sense, while you're lying here on your mat, sensing the pelvis, the two sides of the pelvis connected to the floor. Sense that connection to the floor, that how you can feel the pelvis bone releasing down. Bring both knees to the chest, wrap the arms around the knees, rocking side to side. Nice and slowly. Release your knees, let your legs reach out onto the mat. We'll take Shavasana for a few moments. Letting your arms relax. Letting your whole body totally relax. Closing the eyes. Letting the mind quieten. Letting yourself be brought to a sense of peace with the ebb and flow of your breath. And while everything else around you, be it now in the space you're in or be it in your world that might be busy and whirring around, you are steady and calm. Letting your breath be that steadiness that anchors you. few words from John O'Donoghue. May all that is unforgiven in you be released. May your fears yield their deepest tranquillities. May all that is unlived in you blossom into a future graced with love. Bringing your awareness back into the space. Gently moving fingers and toes. Reaching your arms up overhead and reaching them lengthways all the way along behind you. Take a deep inhale. Exhale, bring the arms back down by your side. Bending the knees. Let the knees sway to the right and left. Being aware of the echoes of what you're sensing in your body from the exercises we've done this evening. Letting the knees come back to center, rolling over onto your side, slowly coming up to sit. Bring your hands to prayer position, drawing them into heart center. Bowing our heads, we pay respects to each other for coming here to practice tonight. Namaste. You're ready for the sleep now? I can see.
Weird into the lab.
I know, my God.